What's the craziest thing that's triggering acne? Poor dental health, because that can be a sneaky source of inflammation. Acne is a disease of Western civilization. Wherever the Western diet goes, acne follows.
No way. So is blood sugar the cause of people's serious acne?
Can be, yes, 100%.
That is crazy. I've never heard anybody say that.
If your blood sugar is on a roller coaster all day, you're never going to clear your skin. The most important foundational piece is really working on gut health. That is the key to clear skin. If you have a healthy gut, you will have clear skin.
Have you tried everything to heal your acne? Dermatologists, prescriptions, expensive skincare, but nothing seems to work? What if the real solution isn't in your medicine cabinet, but on your plate? Meet Maria Marlowe, certified nutritionist and founder of Kuma, the science-backed ingestible skincare brand revolutionizing the way we treat acne. Known as the Acne Nutritionist, Maria has spent the last decade helping thousands of people around the world finally achieve clear, radiant skin by addressing the root causes through nutrition, gut health, and lifestyle. She's the author of the Real Food Grocery Guide and Be Healthy Every Day, host of the Glow Life podcast, and has been featured in Vogue, Good Morning America, and more. This is a multi-camera, beautifully shot episode that you can watch on the Real Alex Clark YouTube channel or listen on Spotify under Culture Apothecary. You can follow the show on Instagram at Culture Apothecary or me at Real Alex Clark. And don't forget, join the Cute Conservatives Facebook group. You can keep the girl talk going. If you love this episode, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review and tell everybody which one hooked you. Please welcome acne nutritionist Maria Marlowe to Culture Apothecary. What is your acne story? How did you become the acne nutritionist?
Well, I had really bad acne for almost 5 years, despite trying all the things. So when I had acne, I started with all the drugstore, the Clean and Clear, the Clearasil, the topical stuff. Didn't work. Then at the time, Proactive was really popular.
Dude, I forgot about them. I never hear about them anymore.
Yeah. And it was like $1 billion company. They did quite well, but you don't hear about them anymore too much. They're still around. That didn't work for me. Then went to the dermatologist, tried the totem pole of medications from antibiotics to birth control, spironolactone, and eventually I was prescribed Accutane. So at the time, it was also harder to get an Accutane prescription than it is now. And when I finally got it, I remember filling the prescription and getting the bag. And stapled to the front, there's the side effects and the dosage and all that. And one of the side effects was severe depression that could lead to suicide. And I was like, what? Like an acne medication? And I had tried all these other medications and none of them had worked for me, or they would work for a little bit and then once you stopped, the acne would come back. So I was like, that's a pretty serious side effect. So you know what? I'm just going to be relegated to the fact that I'm cursed with acne. I must have bad luck. I must have bad genes. And that's it. I don't want to take this medication. A year or so later, I was in college. I was eating lunch with a friend complaining about my skin. And she said, it might actually be caused by what you're eating. And I was like, what? I've been to all these dermatologists and not one of them asked me what I was eating. But I was desperate and willing to try anything at the time. So I was like, okay, just point me in the right direction. What do I do? And by the way, I was eating like 2 slices of pizza, Entenmann's chocolate chip cookies, and a Coca-Cola for lunch.
So you were all ultra-processed food, basically.
All ultra-processed food. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. So I drastically overhauled my diet and worked on improving my gut health. And in about 3 months, my skin cleared up.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I was like, wait a minute, why doesn't anyone teach us this? So I said, you know what, I'm going to set out to be that person.
So you're eating a lot of fast food and stuff, and then what were you eating in those 3 months?
It was a lot of wild salmon, a lot of vegetables. I was not really eating any vegetables besides for tomato sauce on pizza and French fries at the time. I mean, classic American, standard American diet.
Yep.
So I added in a lot of vegetables, added in fruit, added in proteins, a lot of turmeric, anything that's anti-inflammatory, flaxseed, garlic, onions. I started cooking also because I wasn't really cooking unless you count, taking a frozen dinner out and putting that in the microwave.
Yeah.
So I actually started cooking as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of Americans do that. They're like, oh, I cook at home, and it's literally putting something frozen in the oven.
Yeah, and it's like, no.
Yeah. What would your opinion now be on Accutane for like a teenage girl?
I would say you need to get to the root because Accutane doesn't get to the root. I feel like all of these medications are really a Band-Aid approach without getting to the root. We know that acne is caused by inflammation. So we need to figure out what is causing inflammation in the particular individual and then remedy it that way. It could be nutrient deficiencies. Like vitamin A, for example, is a very common nutrient deficiency amongst acne patients. Typically, the worse the deficiency, the worse the severity of acne. And isotretinoin or Accutane is a derivative of vitamin A. So if you eat the foods with vitamin A, that would be like my first, the first thing. If you're considering Accutane, go get your blood work done, go get your gut tested, go get your nutrients tested and see where you're falling short and see what we can fix that way. Where are sources of inflammation in your diet and lifestyle? How can we remedy it naturally? And you're likely going to find that you don't actually need the Accutane.
So then what are the tests or steps that you're doing to determine what the root cause is?
For each individual, it starts with a detailed health history and also a food diary. Because as a nutritionist, if you give me a week's worth or even 3 days worth of what you're eating on a regular, I can look at it and kind of get an idea of like, okay, well, you're not really eating any foods with this particular nutrient or that particular nutrient, or, maybe your blood sugar is not balanced because I can see you're eating more refined carbohydrates or whatever the case may be. So once I see a food diary, then I can say, okay, why don't you get this tested, these nutrients tested? Maybe you need to get your blood sugar tested, and maybe you need to get your gut tested. Because a lot of times inflammation that's showing up on the skin is also starting in the gut. So we also need to check the gut health and the health of the gut microbiome.
What are the 3 most common foods triggering acne flare-ups?
Okay, you're not going to like the first one.
What?
Dairy.
Oh, no.
Yes.
So no raw milk if you struggle with acne?
So here's the thing. The studies on dairy are done on conventional pasteurized dairy, right? So I have not seen any studies that are looking at acne and raw milk. So I will just preface it with that. But in terms of foods that can trigger acne, dairy is way up there on the list. So there was a study, I believe in 2018. It was a meta-analysis. So basically researchers pool the data from multiple studies. It was 14 different studies. And in total, it was about 80,000 subjects. The conclusion was that any dairy in the age group of, I believe it's like 7 to 30, increases the risks of acne.
When people talk about hormonal acne, do you believe it's truly hormonal, or is it often more an issue with their gut?
So I always say with hormonal acne, don't blame your hormones, blame whatever is causing your hormones to become imbalanced.
Oh, there you go.
Because hormones are messengers. And they are just reacting to the environment, to the diet, right, to whatever is going on. And so if there is an imbalance, then we need to understand why are they imbalanced. There is definitely a gut component, especially to hormonal acne. There's a big link to constipation. So a lot of people with hormonal acne tend to be constipated because the way that we get rid of excess hormones is actually through the stool. If we are not eliminating regularly, daily, completely, those excess hormones can actually get reabsorbed back into the bloodstream, contributing to imbalances.
Okay, I did not know that. That's super interesting.
Yeah, you have to poop every day.
Do you think that there are people that are always just prone to struggle with acne, like they're always just gonna have to live with this? Or do you think like, no, it is curable for everyone?
I believe it's curable for everyone. We've been looking for an acne gene for decades. It's never been found. You say, oh, well, my parents had acne, I'm doomed to have acne. No, it's likely because you're still eating and living similar to the way that your parents are eating and living. That is the connection. Acne is a disease of Western civilization. So if we look historically in America and even cross-culturally, we can see that. Wherever the Western diet goes, acne follows.
No way.
Yes. Here in the United States, in 1970, there was a study done on inmates in the U.S., male inmates. The researchers found that the white inmates were 10 times more likely to have acne compared to the black inmates. Now, what's even crazier is that the rate among the acne patients in 1970, the white males, was 5%. If you fast forward to today, it would be 90 to 95% amongst all races. So at the time, the researchers thought there was some genetic component. They actually thought that African Americans had some gene or had something that made them more immune to getting acne. But America was just desegregated. So the white Americans were eating, milkshakes and hot dogs and hamburgers and Coca-Cola and all those kinds of things.
Yep.
Whereas the African Americans were...
They were doing home-cooked meals.
Home-cooked meals. Exactly. They were eating meats and beans and vegetables and whole real foods. And they were actually very skeptical of all our processed Western foods initially. If we look at Japan, for example, pre-World War II, the rate of acne was very, very low in Japan. Once Westernization started happening post-World War II and McDonald's and all our fast food restaurants started opening, it shot up. So it was, I think, around 60% at that time. And today it's above 75%.
You want to feel full, energized, like your hair might start starring in shampoo commercials again? You need more protein, and you need Taylor Duke's Wellness Bone Broth Protein Powder. It's made from 100% grass-fed bone broth, no dairy, gluten, soy, or trash ingredients from the bargain bin at, well, you know, your local supplement store. Just actual food. It doesn't taste like beef at all. I don't know why everyone keeps asking me that. This protein powder heals your skin, strengthens your hair, and keeps your blood sugar from becoming a roller coaster of despair. Oh, look at me, rhyming like Dr. Seuss. It comes in real flavors that taste amazing, like strawberries and cream or chocolate. And they don't taste like dirt. If you mix that chocolate in with raw milk, oh, you're gonna use that and love it. Protein smoothies, protein muffins, mix it into yogurt with fruit. 2 scoops and boom, 40 grams of protein in my smoothie. I feel satisfied, energized, and shockingly less ragey. Go to TaylorDukesWellness.com. Use code AlexClark for 10% off. That's TaylorDukesWellness.com. Code AlexClark for 10% off. Who is done with the gaslighting? The world is lying to women. It tells us that motherhood is bondage, that femininity is weakness, and that our value comes from mimicking men. But we know better. This summer, we're taking it all back at The Last Stand, a one-day festival in Southern California that's basically the Coachella of conservative Christian truth bombs. I'm talking powerful worship, inspiring speakers, and the kind of community that you've been craving. I'll be there, along with Riley Gaines, Heidi St. John, Victoria Robinson, Seth Gruber, David Harris Jr., and more fearless voices. There will be thousands of families rising up as the remnant, ready to reject the chaos and rebuild on God's design. We're coming together to be inspired and reminded why God put us on earth for such a time as this. If you're a mama who refuses to let the culture raise your kids, if you're a dad who's tired of sitting on the sidelines, if you're hungry to see revival, you belong at The Last Stand. Go to thelaststand.com, use my code ALEX10 to get a discount off your tickets. See you on June 21st in Southern California, because families who stand on truth will shape the future. Looking for a serious recharge? The Young Women's Leadership Summit is where passion meets purpose. It's all happening June 13th through 15th in Dallas with powerhouse speakers like myself, Riley Gaines, Ginny Urich, and Hilda Labrada Gore, to name a few. Whether you're a student or a seasoned mama, this event will fill your cup. It's not just a summit, it's a spark for your soul. Register now at YWLS2025.com and use code ALEX for 25% off. See you there. What is one of the weirdest causes of acne that you've discovered in one of your clients?
Sometimes people will come to me and they'll be like, I eat so healthy, I don't understand why I still have acne. And they're eating things like oatmeal and acai bowls and all sorts of like whole foods, but foods that are mostly carbohydrates, and they're not eating enough protein or healthy fat. And so their blood sugar is imbalanced. So even though these are healthy foods, the order in which they're eating them or what the whole meal looks like, their blood sugar is imbalanced.
So how important is the amount of protein somebody struggling with acne is eating, or the amount of fat that they include in every meal?
It is important that you have a balanced plate 100%, because we need everything. We need protein, we need carbohydrates, we need healthy fat, whole carbohydrates. So it's really important. I know now we tend to get caught up on one macronutrient, like everything's protein, protein, protein. We also need fiber, especially for anyone with hormonal acne, but everyone in general needs fiber. We need to keep our bowel movements regular. We need vegetables. They have a wide abundance of nutrients, antioxidants. So we need everything on our plate. It needs to be balanced.
Sometimes during my luteal phase, I will get like one super painful pimple like deep under my skin that I can never pop. It just has to go away on its own over time. Why does that happen?
Every woman's hormones are fluctuating during her period, but why do some women get luteal breakouts or period breakouts and some people don't? It's the way that our body is dealing or processing with the hormones. And so It could be a constipation thing. It could also be a liver thing if the body is not breaking down the hormones efficiently. Sometimes our liver can get sluggish from modern life. So that could be part of the reason. The gut and the liver, I would look there first.
So doing like liver support maybe sometimes during my
could
luteal
be
phase.
helpful. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. I like that tip. Is skin purging normal, or is that just a myth that skincare brands use to explain breakouts?
Yeah, I don't think we need to purge. I'm all about gentle. I think the gentler, the better. When I was breaking out really bad, it was really popular to use things like the St. Ives scrubs and all these very harsh acids and things.
Dude, that apricot scrub, it was like scrubbing your face with glass shards.
Yeah, I know.
That was so bad. And that, if you had acne, it was tearing open your acne.
Disaster. Absolute disaster.
Ugh.
My philosophy is if we use gentle products on the outside and we use our diet and lifestyle to do the heavy lifting from the inside, you don't need to purge. Your acne doesn't need to get worse before it gets better. It could just get better.
Is face mapping for acne actually accurate, or is that a gimmick?
So face mapping comes from traditional Chinese medicine. And I will say I really like Chinese medicine. It's thousands of years old. They really study the entire body and how everything kind of works together. And there are no studies that have actually looked at face mapping to see, is this accurate or not accurate? So we don't know for sure. Face mapping is a good tool. Like, it's a good starting point to start looking under and start seeing the connection between things like your gut or your hormones or your liver and your skin. But whether your acne is hormonal or whatever it is, typically your gut is going to be the foundational piece that you need to fix first.
What is your opinion on using beef tallow or castor oil on acne-prone skin?
Castor oil, love. Castor oil is amazing. Beef tallow, acne-prone skin, you need to be careful with. It can clog your pores. Everyone's different. So beef tallow is great for some people, but those with acne-prone skin, you want to tread carefully.
Can making out with your significant other cause breakouts?
If he has a beard and scratching you and things are getting hot and heavy, it's possible. It is definitely possible he's irritating the skin.
Okay.
So tell him to shave before.
And maybe saliva and stuff.
Oral care, I feel like, is the new gut care, right? Everyone's obsessed with gut health, which is really important. But soon, more and more, you're going to see people are going to become obsessed with oral health. Why? Because first of all, our digestion, our gut microbiome, it's starting in our mouth. And whatever bacteria you have in your mouth, you're swallowing and it's going into your gut. So you want to make sure everything's clean in here. This can be a source of inflammation.
Dude, flossing.
Yeah, you have to do it.
You've got to floss.
You've got to floss.
Like, I know that annoys everybody when your dental hygienist is asking you. It is such a real thing. It's one of the best things when I got super disciplined on making sure I floss every single day.
Yeah.
Because we all, I feel like people are just not doing that.
Yeah.
When I started doing that, oh my gosh, the inflammation in my body just tenfold, so much better.
Yes. So your question before about what's the craziest thing that's triggering acne? Poor dental health.
Whoa.
Yes, because that can be a sneaky source of inflammation. So if you have bleeding gums, you have inflammation. And the thing with any sort of inflammation that's coming from your mouth like that, it's traveling. It's going into your bloodstream. So you're getting body-wide inflammation.
Is it ever okay to pop a pimple, or do we always have to leave them alone?
It depends on the type of pimple.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't understand this camp of never ever pop a pimple. If it has a whitehead, pop it.
You have to do it. Yes, especially if you're going on a date or something.
Yes.
Yeah, you can totally pop it, but you got to do it properly. So you need to first make sure that it's a whitehead and make sure it's there. Do not try this with a cyst. It's going to just be a disaster. Those ones that are under the skin, don't try it. Take a hot shower. Make sure your hands are clean. Put 2 tissues and lightly press on the side of it. Don't push in. You just want to press the side so that it pops out.
What is your opinion on washing your face in the morning? Is it necessary?
No way. No, we don't need to wash our face in the morning. You didn't do anything to make it dirty overnight. So your face is clean. You don't want to overwash because that just strips away all of the good stuff that our skin needs.
What about this new trend of double cleansing?
So double cleansing could be okay at the end of the day. If you have makeup on and you're using an oil cleanser as well, I think that's totally fine.
I'm using micellar water to take all my makeup off, and then I cleanse twice with my cleanser.
As long as your skin doesn't feel dry afterwards. You know how sometimes when you wash your face and then your skin feels tight? That cleanser is too drying for you. Your skin should not feel tight after washing.
Do you think that everybody needs to be washing their face with filtered water? So either having a filter system or using bottled water to wash their face with?
No, not necessarily.
So you're fine with tap?
I think, yes.
Okay. I've heard other estheticians say things like, it needs to be filtered or it needs to be bottled water.
My opinion is that acne is really coming from the inside. And I'm not talking about a comedogenic product that causes a pimple. I'm talking about chronic acne that's coming from the inside. It's best treated from the inside. So is it nice to use filtered water? 100%. But do you have to? No. I think what's going to move the needle the most is focusing on the inflammation from the inside.
You know you've entered a new phase of adulthood when your idea of a cocktail party is standing in your kitchen alone at precisely 9:12 p.m., carefully assembling a sleepy girl mocktail like it's a Michelin star dessert. First, a shot of organic tart cherry juice. Then a scoop of Utzi's magnesitol, the good magnesium, the relaxing kind. Top it with a clean lemon lime soda or sparkling water. And then the final, non-negotiable ingredient, my glass straw. If I don't drink it through the glass straw, it doesn't work. Don't ask me why, it's science or vibes. But here's why I actually make this every night. Magnesitol is the holy grail of calming supplements. It's a mix of magnesium, bisglycinate, the kind your body loves, and inositol, which helps calm your brain and nervous system so you don't end the day rage texting your group chat at 1 a.m. It's non-habit forming, it tastes like strawberries, and helps me actually sleep without waking up groggy like I just did shots with Benadryl. Use code ALEX at Utzi.com to get 20% off your magnesitol order. That's UTZY.com, code ALEX for 20% off. Cheers to a cocktail that actually improves your mental health. You know those wellness tools that slowly go from, let me try this out, to, I will never live without this again? That's Joovv for me. I use my Joovv red light therapy device every single morning. It's part of my non-negotiable routine. 10 minutes of red and near infrared light while I journal or read my Bible or sip bone broth. And I swear I can feel my body wake up at a cellular level. It's like flipping the switch from tired, sluggish to strong and ready for the day. Joovv uses clinically proven wavelengths and emits a safe medical-grade dosage of light, no gimmicks. Their panels are independently safety tested and certified, which is huge for me. Plus, the devices come in all sizes so you can customize your setup. Whether you're using it to improve skin, reduce inflammation, or recover from a workout, Joovv delivers real results that you can feel. Got a crick in the neck? Get a red light therapy device from Joovv. Go to joovv.com/Alex and a code will automatically pop up at checkout. That's JOOVV.com/Alex. Seriously, light your body up the right way with Joovv. Do you think luxury skincare products are definitely better than drugstore?
Yes, because I'm a big fan of using really simple natural ingredients. I don't think we need a ton of ingredients. And when you go to the drugstore, they're not really selling anything natural or that have just minimal ingredients. So I'm a fan of just using minimal ingredients.
If somebody had $100 to spend on skincare,
yeah,
what products and brands are a definite must in your opinion if they struggle with acne?
Okay, I would say first and foremost, go to Whole Foods and spend your money on food first.
Yep.
But if we have to talk skincare, then I would say I really like probiotic skincare. So there are a few probiotic cleansers that I find are really gentle on the skin, like Eminence Organics makes a really nice probiotic cleanser.
I love Eminence Organics.
Yeah, Eminence Organics is really nice. They make a lot of really great products. So I like that. Kovo Essentials is another brand that makes very gentle skincare. They have a probiotic and turmeric cleanser that I really like. Is really nice. And tea tree oil is a must-have if you have acne. Pure 100% tea tree essential oil. It is gentle enough to use on the skin. You can use it as a spot treatment on your acne. It helps to reduce inflammation. And if you popped it, it will help to prevent any infection.
What makeup and skincare brands for acne-prone skin do you like?
For clean beauty, I really like Ilia. I like Lawless. I like RMS Beauty is really good. But for coverage, if you have bad acne and you have scarring and active breakouts, sometimes these brands don't cover really well. So I also like It Cosmetics. I feel like they have good coverage, and Charlotte Tilbury as well.
Is a dermatologist actually the right person to see when you have persistent acne?
I think the first place to start is with a nutritionist, 100%, because acne is really diet and lifestyle related. You can send any person to me with acne, and I promise you, I will find the diet and lifestyle root cause. I've been doing this for like 2 decades at this point, and acne is coming from the gut, it's coming from our diet, it's coming from stress. It's coming from our diet and lifestyle, and that is the only way to fix it.
Okay, so give an example of somebody that has severe persistent acne, you know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, a day in the life. What are you telling them to eat?
Starting with something that's going to keep your blood sugar balanced is absolutely key. If you start breakfast with something sugary, like a cereal, for example, or a croissant or baked goods, your blood sugar is going to be on a roller coaster all day long, and you're going to crave more sugar all day long. So that has to be stopped right away. We need to have a well-balanced breakfast. Some people find that eggs trigger breakouts for them, but not everybody. So if you're someone where eggs don't trigger breakouts, then starting your day with 3 eggs. I like to do a veggie omelet, throw some baby spinach in there or whatever veggies you have on hand, just chopped up quickly. Have that on the side to bump up the protein. You could have some grass-fed or pasture-raised sausage, something like that, or something just to get you to 30 grams of protein. I do think that's really important, or 20 to 30 grams of protein is really important in the morning. And also having some source of fiber ideally. So maybe you have a piece of fruit or a cup of blueberries afterwards. If that's too much to cook in the morning, I do have a blueberry smoothie recipe on my website. I call it my Complexion Perfection Smoothie.
I'm a big fan of the protein smoothie in the morning. That's my number one thing.
Yeah. So it's a cup of blueberries. It's a banana, frozen banana, protein powder. I really like pumpkin seed protein for acne-prone skin because it's rich in zinc and magnesium, which are 2 minerals that are chronically depleted in people with acne.
So what protein powder brand does that?
Sprout Living has a really nice pumpkin seed protein powder.
Interesting. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay.
So I love that. And then I also like to add a scoop of collagen.
Which collagen do you like?
I like Further Food.
Okay.
I like that. And also Agent Natur.
See?
Yes.
I tell them all, Agent Natur Holy Mane is ride or die. I just had Adeline, my assistant. I had her go yesterday to the store. I said, we've got a clean beauty store locally. And I said, I need you to go in there and get me 2 bags because I'm out. I live for that stuff.
For lunch and dinner, it's pretty similar. Half your plate should be vegetables. Ideally cooked, because raw is typically going to be harder to digest for most people. And if you have acne, you probably have compromised digestion. So have some roasted or steamed vegetables. You could do a soup, however you want it. About 50% of your plate should be vegetables. You need the fiber, you need the nutrients. Then you want to have a piece of protein. I love wild salmon. It's a rich source of omega-3 fatty acids, which is another common deficiency in acne patients. Then on top of that, you could have some whole grains. You could have some beans or legumes if you want, some healthy fat, dress it in olive oil. You could use some anti-inflammatory spices like turmeric, for example, and have some water to drink. And that's your lunch and dinner. You could swap in different sources of protein, but that's kind of the idea.
Is there ever a case, especially those that have deep cystic breakouts, where it's not your gut and it is the products or a product that you're using every day?
Products could trigger breakouts, but if it's those deep ones that are bubbling up for weeks or days or weeks, that's almost 100% going to be coming from inside.
Is it sometimes like somebody has a food allergy they don't know about?
It's possible, yes. Because if you have a food sensitivity or a food allergy, that could be creating inflammation in your gut, which will ultimately show up on your skin. I will say if it's just a sensitivity, like if you find that you're reacting to so many foods and you go and get tested and it's not an actual allergy, you probably have leaky gut. So I would get my gut checked. You can do one of these comprehensive gut microbiome tests that test for leaky gut or increased intestinal permeability and see. And if you're reacting to a lot of foods, you most likely have leaky gut. And if you remedy the leaky guts and you improve your gut microbiome, you will likely find that down the line, in a few months, 3 months, 6 months, however long it takes, you may actually be able to tolerate those foods again.
When you're diving deeper into the gut health of an acne patient, what are you finding in their guts that is different from somebody who's not acne prone?
So what the research shows is that acne patients tend to lack certain lactobacillus and bifidobacteria strains in their gut compared to healthy controls. We also know that acne patients are more likely to have leaky gut, which is why they're also reactive to more foods. And so adding back in those beneficial bacteria can actually help to improve the skin from the inside out. And this is really interesting. We talk about the gut-skin connection now, and it's kind of like a new thing, but actually it's been studied for over almost 100 years. 2 dermatologists, John H. Stokes and Donald M. Pillsbury, back in the 1930s, what they found was that their acne patients tend to be really anxious, and they tend to be the ones that are more stressed out. And they hypothesized that their negative thoughts were actually disrupting their gut and creating inflammation, which was leading to breakouts. And through their own testing, and even in the decades since, we've found that that is actually true. So negative thoughts disrupt the gut, create inflammation, and it leads to inflammation of the skin or breakouts. And we now know also that anything that disrupts the gut can actually disrupt the skin. And so there are certain bacteria strains like L. rhamnosus sp1, which has been found to reduce acne in about 12 weeks. L. acidophilus is really helpful. L. paracasei. So there are specific strains that are really supportive of that gut-skin connection. I find that gut health is so pivotal to clear skin that I actually formulated a probiotic called Glow Biome with 6 clinically validated strains that specifically target that gut-skin connection to help support clearer skin from the inside out. Because if we're not balancing the gut microbiome and we're lacking that good bacteria, our modern lifestyle is really, seems like it's designed to disrupt our gut, right? We're stressed, we're eating sugar and packaged foods, drinking alcohol, all this stuff is disrupting our gut. So it's really important that we're reseeding our gut with good bacteria.
Is alcohol one of another big trigger of acne that people don't think of?
If you're drinking a lot, yes, it for sure could be. It's
now,
increasing inflammation.
Is it certain types over others? Like, is beer worse than wine, for example?
Hard to say. I mean, clear liquors are generally better than anything that's darker in terms of, you know, your body metabolizing it. And anything sugary is obviously going to be worse. So any sort of mixed drinks are not great. But what the research shows is anything more than two drinks can actually increase your markers of inflammation.
So here's a little wake-up call that you may not know you need. If you're breaking out like you're 16 again, and you've tried changing everything, cleansers, diet, pillowcases, but things still aren't improving, try your makeup. Turns out a ton of popular products are loaded with pore-clogging junk and endocrine-disrupting fragrance. I got my friend switched to Adele Natural Cosmetics, and wow, what a difference for her. Their products are minimalist, holistic, and completely toxin-free. The cream blush is a dream. I love the shade Petal, and the moisturizing foundation is a total game changer for dry skin. Lightweight, but with serious, seamless, and natural coverage that doesn't clog pores. Adele's commitment to clean, skin-loving ingredients is what makes them stand out. If you want to switch things up, go to AdeleNaturalCosmetics.com, use code ALEX for 25% off your first purchase. That's AdeleNaturalCosmetics.com, code ALEX for 25% off your first purchase. Okay, let's talk movie snacks. I know you're not going to see Snow White, but maybe you want to see something else. I bring my own snacks every single time because there is no way that I'm eating popcorn drenched in mystery seed oil sludge. So instead, I toss a bag of masa chips into my purse, which is chef's kiss. Crunchy, salty, satisfying, and absolutely seed oil free. These chips are made with only 3 ingredients: organic nixtamalized corn, grass-fed and finished beef tallow, and Redmond sea salt. That's it. No industrial oils, no preservatives, no fake flavor powders. Just real ingredients that your body knows what to do with. Plus, masa chips are super sturdy, like they don't break in guac. They're built different. They taste amazing. They're good for your body, and they're made by a small family business actually trying to change the snack industry. Go to masachips.com, use code RealAlexClark for 20% off your first order. That's masachips.com, code RealAlexClark for 20% off your first order. So I've never struggled with acne, but I do keep getting, weirdly, breakouts only underneath my jawline, like right on my neck. I keep getting like little breakouts there that are poppable. What's going on with them coming up on my neck, basically?
It's hard to say exactly. What I would love to do, which I can do for you, is really look at your diet and lifestyle and see if there's any source of inflammation or there's any source of some imbalance. Because typically it's coming back to what is causing the imbalance. Is it the liver? Is it the gut? I feel like you eat pretty healthy, so I think your blood sugar stable.
It's weird because it's never on my face. It's only now underneath my jaw, and it's just very, very teeny tiny little pimples.
Yeah, so those are kind of the ones that are related to the hormones. So there might be something there. But I will say, you know, it sounds crazy, but even like stress could be triggering it, because what happens when we're stressed, it increases cortisol in our body, and cortisol actually increases sebum. So sometimes it's these little tiny things or little tiny changes that actually make a difference.
Any tips for somebody who has acne but also extremely dry skin?
So dry skin can be an omega-3 deficiency, because omega-3 is used in the cell membrane and it helps our cells hold hydration, hold moisture. And so if we're not getting enough omega-3, which is also a deficiency amongst acne patients. It could also cause our skin to be more dry.
So we need to be eating seafood.
Seafood, and seeds. So things like flaxseed, chia seed, hemp seed, these are all also sources of omega-3. But of course, the seafood sources are going to be more bioavailable.
Well, my audience knows. I'm always going to tell them, eat the oysters. Eat the oysters.
I love oysters.
Yep.
Oysters are also a really great source of zinc, which is another common acne deficiency.
Would you ever recommend Retin-A or tretinoin?
I'm not a fan.
Why?
I think it's too harsh on the skin. I think anything that causes our skin to peel or be irritated and red is not great for our skin. I'm a fan of the gentler, the better.
Let's talk about acne scars for a minute. Can the skin actually heal and repair on its own and regenerate or not? And if so, what are the most effective steps to help those scars start fading for good?
So I will say the best way to fade scars is to prevent them. And what causes a scar? Inflammation. So the more inflammation that's in the pimple and the longer that it lasts, the more likely it is to scar. So once you get a pimple, you need to go really heavy on all the anti-inflammatory foods ASAP to bring that pimple down as quickly as possible. That is going to minimize your risk of getting a scar. Okay, that's number one. But let's say it's already too late, we're already scarred. In that case, I do believe that using topical methods are going to be the most effective way to get rid of scars versus food. There are certain foods that could help, like potentially astaxanthin, for example. You can get it as a supplement, but it's also, it comes from algae. It's what makes shrimp and certain seafood, wild salmon, that reddish orange color. But for scarring, going to an esthetician who can really look at your scars and give you a tailored treatment plan, that is going to be the quickest way.
Did you have any scars left over after you healed your acne?
I did.
Did you do any lasers or anything like that?
I never did lasers. I did microneedling.
Okay.
But that's all I really did, and just skincare and time. They will fade in time.
Do you recommend it, the microneedling, or no?
I think the key is going to a really good esthetician who is also holistic minded and who can really look at your skin and give you a personalized plan. I think that is really the best thing to do. So I think microneedling could be really effective for many people.
Okay, go through again what your 90-day protocol is for healing acne.
My 90-day protocol for healing acne deals with getting to the root of your inflammation. So we start, are there any nutrient deficiencies? If so, we rectify that. Are you eating any pro-inflammatory foods? If so, we remedy that. And I'm all about the upgrades. So if you're eating cookies and chips and Coca-Cola and all the things that I used to eat, we'll give you upgrades, healthier versions of your potato chips or whatever it is that you're eating. We need to get your blood sugar stable. If your blood sugar is on a roller coaster all day, you're never going to clear your skin. So that's really important. We need to check your blood sugar, your HbA1c levels, and keep your blood sugar stable.
So is blood sugar the cause of people's serious acne?
Can be, yes, 100%.
That is crazy. I've never heard anybody say that.
Oh, yes. There was a study that looked at, I believe there were about 3,000 participants with acne. And they put them on a diet that was basically a low glycemic load diet that keeps your blood sugar stable. So what we talked about before, lots of fiber, protein, healthy fats, whole carbohydrates. In 90 days, it was upwards of 90% of the participants cleared their skin.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
More people need to be talking about this for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're looking at the blood sugar in the 90 days. What else?
We're also looking at stress. You can eat really healthy, but if you're chronically stressed, you're still going to be breaking out. And here's the really interesting thing. Our thoughts, if you have negative thoughts, fear, anxiety, worry, these thoughts actually disrupt your gut. They can wipe out some of the good bacteria, which allows the bad or the pro-inflammatory bacteria to proliferate. And that's where a lot of this inflammation is coming from, the gut.
Now, you know what really helps with inflammation, and I wonder if you've looked into this for acne at all, is red light therapy.
Red light? Yeah, red light is amazing. And there's a lot of research on red light.
Okay, so do you like that for people with healing acne scars and stuff as well?
I do like red light, yes. And the most important foundational piece is really working on gut health. That is the key to clear skin. If you have a healthy gut, you will have clear skin. And in fact, if your skin is breaking out with acne, you're almost guaranteed to have some form of gut dysbiosis. So something's going on in your gut. Maybe it's leaky gut. Maybe your gut bacteria are imbalanced, something's going on in the gut. And that really goes for any chronic inflammatory skin disorder, including things like psoriasis and rosacea. It's really stemming from the gut. So that is key and foundational. We need to get you on probiotics. We need to heal and seal the gut lining, which we can do through different foods and supplements. We need to make sure that you're regular every single day and really supporting the gut. And also having enough vitamin D. Vitamin D really supports healthy gut lining.
For every girl listening who's covered in makeup, just trying to hide her breakouts, what would you say to her to encourage her?
Acne, I know it doesn't seem like it right now. It's really the biggest blessing in disguise because it's prompting us to look a little further. Acne is a communication from our body. It's a sign of inflammation and imbalance. So if you can get to the root of that, not only will you clear your skin, but you're also going to improve your overall health.
How can people work with you directly to heal their acne?
So my website is mariamarlowe.com, and Marlowe is spelled Marlowe. I work with people one-on-one, and I also have a 90-day program that people can go through themselves.
If you could give one remedy to heal a sick culture, and it could be physically, emotionally, or spiritually, what would your remedy be?
You have to heal your gut. If you heal your gut, you're going to heal your brain, your skin, your immune system, really your whole entire body. Gut health is the foundation of physical health.
Where can people follow you on social media?
On Instagram, I'm at Maria Marlowe. And on TikTok and YouTube, it's Glow by Marlowe.
Maria, this was fascinating. Thank you for coming on Culture Apothecary.
Thank you so much for having me.
I don't know about you, but the dental and blood sugar tips for clearing acne, mind-blowing. If you've been stuck in the cycle of creams, pills, and nothing working, this conversation, I hope, just gave you a whole new roadmap. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Culture Apothecary and at Real Alex Clark. If this episode spoke to you and you learned something new, please take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review. It really, really helps the show. We're on a mission to heal a sick culture twice a week on Mondays and Thursday nights, where new guests bring a unique remedy to do just that. I'm Alex Clark, and this is Culture Apothecary.